welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I am Brandon, and alongside me, as always, is Andrew. Today, we have got kind of an off-the-cuff episode here. We just decided, wow, you know what? We've got some time. Let's do something random and fun. And it might reflect in our lists because, well, we just put this together really quick. So, and I'll just be completely honest with you guys. We did. We just went through stuff, and we might be missing something here. I don't know. You'll have to maybe get on to us in the comments. I don't know. We'll see. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a top 10 80s action movie list for you guys, a ranking for you, where we go through and we'll give you probably a couple honorable mentions in there too. Honorable mentions. We're going to be doing that. So our parameters were, we wanted to change it up a little bit and make it a little bit, we were going to do one movie per actor. And we realized that that's a little bit too hard, especially in the 80s.
You're going to get a top 5 if that's the case.
And it made it really hard also because we decided to up the ante a little bit and do, like, take off certain ones too. So there's a lot of different action movies out there, and there's subgenres. There's fantasy, action, adventure, action, and there's comedy action, and there's sport action, and there's all kinds of shit. So what we decided to do, we went ahead and left like some comedy action and sport action stuff in there, but we figured if we kept the fantasy sci-fi action and adventure action, then you're going to have a lot of spots taken up by Terminator and Star Wars and Indiana Jones, the Aliens, the big Predator, the big stuff. And that's cool. They're amazing, and we love them. And you guys know, if you've watched us before, you know that they are way up there for us. So we wanted to make it a little bit more difficult for us to give some of these other movies a little bit of a limelight here. And these are not even close to all of them, but this is just what we enjoy the most of the 80s that aren't Terminator, aren't Predator. And I even left Batman off there because I would consider that superhero fantasy adventure.
These are just straight up action movies, guys with machine guns.
Yeah.
When you think Macho Movie Madness, this is that.
Yeah. And I did include some comedy ones in there because there's comedy elements to some of these movies.
Yeah.
Some of them are just straight action. Some of them are funny without meaning to be funny, i.e. Commando. Just something like that. And there's going to be some things that we don't agree on. There's going to be things that you guys might not agree on, but this is kind of the best we come up with in a short amount of time. But I think this is going to be fairly fun here. So you want to save our honorables to like before one?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's throw one honorable out there. We wanted to throw in Escape from New York, but it is sort of sci-fi. But we wanted to mention it.
I feel like it's super grounded for a sci-fi movie, but it's just future. It's in the future.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I do have
sci-fi-ish.
I do have one on my list that might be a cheat. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes it's just hard to determine. Like I said, there's so many things that blend in together so well. And you're going to see some comedy stuff on my end. But I think you'll also agree that they are very heavy in action too, so that I would definitely count them. Anyway, so we talked about Escape from New York. Let's go ahead and start with number 10.
What do you got?
So number 10, I went with Death Wish 3. Charles Bronson. This right here we've done a Warehouse B. And at first I was like, maybe we should also just not throw out like really shitty, well, not so much shitty, but like cheap B movies. But sometimes you have to, and sometimes they're just fun.
You put on this movie and you have a great time.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Unless you're just a complete jerk, you're gonna like this.
Really, compared to some of them on the list that I've got, this has more action than most of them. Yeah, just because it's outrageous.
Yeah, he destroys an entire gang, an entire village goes up with a bazooka.
The whole project just goes up. But Death Wish, more drama. Yeah, Death Wish 2 is a little bit different. Then that's more action. Yeah, but there's still some drama. Death Wish 3 is just out of control. Yeah, so I went with Death Wish 3. Excuse me. Go ahead.
So for number 10 on mine, it might be a little blasphemous for Brandon, but I enjoy the movie a lot. It just enough to make number 10 on my list. It's Roadhouse.
Roadhouse?
Yeah. I do have a lot of fun with the movie. There's just some on this list I like a little bit better. Yeah. We'll talk about it at length when Brandon talks about it.
I don't know about length, but there's some girth there anyway. No,
I don't know this is as good as Point Break. Shout out to Kenny. But
wow,
it's good enough to make number 10 on my list.
But we're doing 80s here, so yeah. Okay, so he got Roadhouse number 10. Number 9. This might be a little bit egregious to Andrew, but I picked Cobra for number 9.
Okay, well it's in the back half of my list here.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Cobra's
this is one of Sylvester's strongest movies to me, I think personally. Well, to both of us.
Yeah.
Especially in the 80s, outside of the Rocky element.
Yeah, and the First Blood.
And the First Blood, yeah. But this is, which we will talk about also in this list, like a spoiler alert. But yeah, this is definitely top for me.
Yeah, it's a good one. Number 9 on my list is Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it came out in 1987. We did a versus, Beverly Hills Cop 1 versus 2, and Beverly Hills Cop 2 won that versus last year. And so I thought, well, I was going to put the first one on. I'm like, I can't do that. I got to stay true to myself because, man, that second movie's so much fun.
Yeah.
Him taking down Brigitte Nielsen and
I will say this right here, and I feel bad actually now that you've included that because I didn't include either one of those on my honorables or my lists.
Oh yeah,
and I probably should have because I'm like, I've already got some action comedy on here, so I was like, man, do I really want to go too much action comedy? So that was a me thing, but I do agree those are up there. They're very, very good movies.
Yeah, I knew it would be on the back half of the list, but I had to include that one.
Yeah, both 1 and 2 are amazing, but so I didn't include those, but they very well easily could have been on here. I just chose a couple instead. Love those movies.
Yeah.
Coming in number 8 from me is Above the Law. This would be Steven Seagal's first big outing, and which is not our favorite one, but it's up there.
Yeah,
and it's pretty solid for a first outing.
Yeah. We talk about it in a versus as well. If you want to scroll back a couple of years in the Wayback Machine, it's a good movie. It's really good. Put him on the map.
Yeah, it is, and it's definitely, you're not going to go wrong with this one or Out for Justice, Hard to Kill, some of the stuff which we creep into the 90s there, so we couldn't include them on these lists, but Under Siege. So definitely one of his strongest movies.
And we do want to point out, if y'all like this list, we will do a 90s list somewhere down the line.
Absolutely.
But, Above the Law, definitely worthy. My number 7 is Cobra, which we'd already talked about. Really enjoy Cobra. Just a fun, real dark movie. Love the villain in that movie too, and the whole cult thing he's got going on.
Yeah, that was your number 8.
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay.
Did I skip my number 8?
You did. What's your number 8?
Okay, my number 8's Death Wish 3.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, we've already talked about that.
Yeah. So we've talked about that one. Go watch Death Wish 3. It's on Tubi all the time.
Okay, and then Cobra's your number 7.
Yep.
Okay, then my number 7, I'm going with Top Gun. I think it's it's kind of it's a bigger name for the 80s. I didn't want to. It's not one of my favorites from the 80s, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's top 10. But it's just a solid movie all around. Yeah. And I mean, you get action pretty much all over the place.
It's always good when you can make my wife cry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love making her cry.
Yeah.
Goose.
Her and Goose.
Yeah.
Man, it didn't make my list. I thought about it for a second, but it probably should have made my honorables. But I wasn't thinking about it when I made my honorables.
Yeah. Well, and I was like, man, this is not really your atypical macho movies like your Commandos and stuff like that. But it's still an action movie, and it's still a solid one at that. And if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing with your life. And the second one, Maverick's amazing too.
Yeah, it's
good. Really good. It might be more action.
Yeah. I don't know if we could do that in a versus or not, if it would be a fair fight, but
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it.
Yeah. So where are we at, number 6?
Oh, we are number 6, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Commando is my number 6.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, one of my favorite Arnold movies that nobody ever talks about. We're going to have to do a Why We Love.
It is one of my favorites
Commando,
too.
because it is just stupid over the top.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. You're introduced to his character carrying a log through the forest, and I keep waiting for him to break that deer's neck.
I know. He never does.
Never does.
The deer's safe, not the tree.
Yeah, I love him. I love the villain in this one, Vernon Wells.
Kill a tree, save a deer.
Yeah. Vernon Wells, who will appear on another movie in my list that might be a cheat, but yeah, Commando's my number 6. Love that movie.
Number 6 for me, I went with First Blood. So one of another strong entry with Sylvester in the 80s.
Saved his career. Rocky's the only thing he had going at the time.
I absolutely love First Blood, and the second one for that matter, which I'll talk about too.
Yeah. Where are we at? Number 5?
Number 5.
Number 5 for me, I went Bloodsport.
Oh, okay, cool.
Jean-Claude Van Damme came on. He was in a few little things, but this was his big breakout. And we'll probably have to do a Why We Love on this one as well, because I just watched this one recently, and it's still fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's been a while since I've seen it. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, everything we love about the 80s, man. Stan Bush and the soundtrack, and it's wild, and I love it.
My number 5 is Lethal Weapon 2. So this is where you're getting into your action comedy.
Yeah.
Just as strong as the first one, almost pretty much. In a lot of cases, it might be better. We were really close on this in the verses.
Yeah. It came down to the last category, I believe.
Yeah. But Lethal Weapon 2 is my number 5. Absolutely cannot go wrong with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson.
No. Add Joe Pesci to the mix.
Add Joe Pesci to the mix in this one. Yeah, it's super great.
Yeah. I honestly forgot to put that one on my list, so shame on me.
Shame on you.
We're at number 4.
Yep.
Number 4 to me is The Road Warrior, which a lot of people might go, oh, that's a cheat, because the sci-fi element with the apocalypse and everything. But,
and we talked about that too a little bit, and this is where you kind of blur a line. But it is futuristic, kind of like Escape, but I think there's less sci-fi in that because it's just everything's post-apocalyptic, but also kind of
you forget about it because the action's so good,
right? And I think it's just well grounded. I don't think I'm okay with that on this list.
Yeah,
as opposed to even Escape, which I was pretty well okay with it as well.
And I still, even with Furiosa and Fury Road, I still argue this is the best Mad Max movie, even though our verses said otherwise.
Well, we enjoy it more.
Yeah,
put it that way. And that was number 4 for you?
Yep.
My number 4 was Lethal Weapon 1. I got Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 just right there back to back. Another solid outing. This is the one that started it all.
Yeah, let's just talk about it because it's my number 3.
Okay, yeah. It's 100% one of the best movies of the 80s, not just action-wise. It's just all around. It's a solid movie. It's the epitome of buddy cop, even though there's stuff that came before that. It is 100% one of my favorite movies of the 80s, not just action.
It's got everything that some of these other movies may be missing with the drama with Riggs and the crazy side of his personality and his death wish that he has. And it's a little more heavy on the acting side than some of these. It is. So, yeah,
but there's tons of good action in this. And the second one, like I said, it's just about as strong.
Yep.
So that was your number 3. Mm-hmm. Coming at number 3, Roadhouse for me. Also another one of my favorite 80s movies ever. Just such a classic feel. Somebody comes in to save a town that's been overrun by corruption or some piece of shit rich guy. just classic tale. Love that. Dalton's one of the coolest characters that Patrick Swayze's ever had, and it's just hard to go wrong with that old Southern Missouri dive bar atmosphere. A bunch of bouncers kicking each other's asses. Yep. Man, Sam Elliott's in it. It's great, man. If for any of the newer crowd that might stumble upon this video, you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. If you don't have Roadhouse on a list for top 10 of the 80s, you're too stupid to have a good time.
That's exactly right. Perfect.
That was your number 2?
That was my number 3, actually. Go ahead.
So my number 2 is First Blood.
Okay.
The original. A little bit more serious than the second one, which gets kind of crazy with the deaths and stuff. A little bit more acting as far as the Sylvester Stallone's range in this one. Yeah. Just love First Blood. Yeah.
Very good.
Where he's setting the traps for all the deputies out in the woods. Yes. And it's when I put this I knew what my number 1 was, and I'm like, that's my number 2 for sure.
Yeah. My number 2 is Commando. And maybe even it might be a little high, but it's up there.
You like what you like.
It will, and it's just there's better movies obviously of the 80s, and there's a few better movies like Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2 I probably enjoy more, but just I kind of thought what's just straight action and that I can really, really have a good time with. Mm-hmm. And so this is not going to be thought of in the same vein as my number 1 pick, but just for the straight action and good time and the one-liners, it's up there, man. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Next to the obvious stuff like Terminator that we can't put on this list, this is Arnold's best of the 80s, one of his best.
Yeah, for sure. That leaves us with number 1. Do we have the same number 1? You saw mine.
Yeah, probably so. Before we do that, let's finish our honorables.
Okay. Honorable mentions. Our most watched video on the channel to date is Red Scorpion, and I had a lot of fun with that one, watching Dolph take down a helicopter with a big FAL. Yeah, awesome. That was fun. Tango and Cash.
Oh yeah.
Had to get a little bit of Kurt Russell on this list. I don't care for Stallone's character as much, but Kurt Russell's awesome in this movie.
Yeah, due to our limitations and parameters of this, we've left off most of his stuff because of what they fell in.
You can't put Big Trouble on there either.
It's more fantasy action.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfair, I guess, but because it deserves a nod for sure.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop, the original, I would put on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So.
I ended up going, I'm glad you said you've included those because I did not, but I put First Blood 2 on mine. It's just, I think it's probably wilder than the first one. It's just not as good of a movie, but it's action-wise, it's
it's
way
fantastic.
more. It's fantastic. And I put Bloodsport on there as well. Then I put Mad Max 2, which Road Warrior on there. So stuff we've already talked about, but that's just something I threw on there. And there's obviously stuff I missed like Tango and Cash. But yeah, solid movies all the way around. Well, we're going to go ahead and say it now. I guess our number one pick, and I don't know if anybody would have a problem with this. I don't even know if anybody would be surprised.
No.
If you really think about just straight up solid movie, like all around action, everything, a little bit of comedy, but mostly not really a lot of comedy, but the great drama, great story, and that's Die Hard.
Yep.
So, and I figured you both, Die Hard is without a doubt one, if not the best 80s action movie ever. There's a reason why, there's Terminator clones, there's all kinds of clones of these movies, and Die Hard's no different.
Yeah.
When Die Hard came out, there was a billion more. And
they're still making them.
Under Siege is Die Hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
we love Under Siege.
We love Under Siege. It just got a great formula, and it's just one of the best things you could possibly watch. Yeah. It's a Christmas movie for sure. Right?
Absolutely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I really don't think anybody would have a problem with number one being Die Hard. I really don't. And if you don't, then you're getting thrown off the Nakatomi Planet. You're going to join Hans.
Yeah.
I think I just threatened people on YouTube.
They're probably going to take us down now.
Yeah. Demonetized. Actually, we're not monetized, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We just do this because we love you guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's our list. Let us know in the comments if you guys agree with them or where you'd place your top 10. Let us know your top 10s. That'd be great. Make sure you like and subscribe. That way you don't miss anything. If you want us to do a 90s list, we would absolutely love to do that with the same parameters. And then if we want to do horror, I'd like to do maybe horror. If you want to do 80s and 90s list of the stuff that we didn't include, like the fantasy stuff, we can do that too. So just let us know.
Yeah, because there's lots of things like Aliens would have been really high on my list.
I know. That's why. That's kind of like I don't want to just put Terminator and Aliens and everything because we do that all the time. So let's take those off the board and let's try something different.
Yeah,
and that gives you room for your Bloodsports and your Commandos and Roadhouses and Cobras and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. We've had a lot of fun here. Hope you have too. Until next time,
we're out of here.